Uh, Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to 30th Annual Interfaith Peace Gathering to commemorate the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombings. Thank you very much for coming here. We will start the events right now, and I am Keiko Tsuyama. I'm MC for tonight. I'm a journalist and photographer based in New York City, and also I'm a Nagasaki Peace Correspondent appointed by the former mayor of Nagasaki City, Tomihisa Haue. The Nagasaki Peace Correspondents are assigned to convey peace message from Nagasaki. Reverend TK Nakagaki is one of the Nagasaki Peace Correspondents too. As shown in the short video right now, Reverend T. Kenjitsu Nakagaki and Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York City started this interfaith gathering 30 years ago. So this year, 2023, marks 30th anniversary of this gathering. This event is free and open to the public. However, in order to cover our costs, we usually collect donations. And because Japan Society kindly hosted this event, but it's also a non-profit organization. So to avoid confusion, we cannot collect donations here today. But if you'd like to make a donation, here is the QR code here on your program. So through this, you can make any amount of money that, if you want to support our gatherings every year. So first, we'd like to have some welcome greetings from very, very important organizations related to Japan and Japanese culture. From Mr. Joshua Walker from Japan Society, and also Reverend TK Nagasaki. He's a Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation's founder. Also from Japanese American Association of New York, Mr. Sato will have the welcome notes. And also from the Permanent Mission of Japan to the United Nations, we have Ambassador Mitsuko Shino. She's also a Deputy Permanent Representative. Thank you. Joshua, please.
Thank you. It is my honor on behalf of Japan Society to welcome you to the Japan House. My heart is heavy today because I think about the memory and the sacrifices made 78 years ago so that we can be here. I say that as the grandson of two soldiers, a B-29 pilot and an infantry soldier that came to Japan. My parents served as Christian missionaries, so to go from my grandparents' generation of war with Japan to salvation for Japan to now as president of Japan Society, it is good to be here with you all, and particularly to be able to celebrate the human spirit of resiliency and peace for the future. And I think all of us today can appreciate the momentous feelings we have, particularly after a summer that have reinforced the importance of never again and the importance of peace. Kicked off this year by a historic G7 convening in Hiroshima for the first time, and also given the movies that have come out this summer and the importance that have not been placed on the victims and the areas of focus. I think it's been particularly important to reflect on that, not just for what happened in the past, but how we can learn for the future. And here at Japan Society, we are here to be a bridge to connect American and Japanese, not just governments and businesses, but cultures and society. And I can think of no better representatives of our societies than our interfaith leaders who guide us in our own practices, our own understanding that we are not just ourselves, but are part of a larger collective. So I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to commemorate here in the United States. It may be August 8th, but already in Japan it is August 9th, which is a sacred day for all of us that have grown up in the spirit. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you to all the leaders that are gathered and you, the society members that have taken time out of your busy schedule, and I'll hand it back to the MC and of course our organizer as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua Walker. Reverend Nakagaki, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is actually our 30th, for me, actually, 30th annual Interfaith Peace Gathering to commemorate Hiroshima and Nagasaki in New York City and Manhattan particularly. And so which means I've been here 30 years. So ever since I was assigned to the New York Buddhist Church, and I used to be the resident minister there, but now, of course, in 2010 I left. But then one of the things that I learned from that particular experience is I'm from Osaka originally, so it's not Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but yet that's the matter for Japanese people, I believe, because the atomic bomb was dropped to Japan, although Hiroshima and Nagasaki, specifically, but I feel like Japanese people, that was a Hiroshima thing, that was a Nagasaki thing, but then it is also a Japan thing too, and so many people somehow forget. I don't know, all the ceremony, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and then New York is going on, but yet out of Tokyo and all those places, a little bit quieter. And so I'm hoping, since I've been doing that 30 years, then 29 years exact, but then during those times, I've heard so many stories of the hibakusha, and especially the one that Tomiko-san, you saw, because she wanted to come, really wanted to come here today. But because of the age, a lot of our hibakusha is aging now, and it's hard to come up. So, but the important thing for her is, just the peace, no wars, and so, simple, but yet it's very difficult to practice. And I think for a lot of things unstable after the corona, because even we are separate sometimes, because I don't see many people these days, but then finally I start meeting a lot of people and kind of feel the reconnect. So for me, this gathering is a reconnect of the peace circle, and then bring the more peace, more, express the importance of the peace to us, to even within ourselves, and to the others as well. It seems like I lost my voice, but my voice is much better normally. But but it is a great. I really wanted to thank first of all the Japan Society to accept us to be able to use this wonderful space. Because I wanted to mention one thing is because I just mentioned I was at the New York Buddhist Church. At that time, Mr. Murase, Jiro Murase, is our advisor. So I always meet him and do the, how we can do maintain the temples, everything like those things. And also I did his funeral service and all the other parts too. So we have been I really respect him, the way he contributed to the Japanese community. And then today we have some events at the Murase Room. And then actually August is the one who he passed away. So this is for me, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, but also I really like to respect to Mr. Murase and also Mrs. Murase. So those are the past, but yet continue. And I'm wishing that this Japanese society will be, as the Dr. Walker mentioned, it's not just the past things, but going towards the future. And I really wanted to be the future with a peace, with non-violence. So that was my goal, and I'm very grateful again for this place to be, one place you can spread the peace to the world. And I thank you sincerely.
Thank you, Reverend Nakagaki. Ambassador Shino.
こんばんは。Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York and Nakagaki-san for giving me this opportunity to speak at this commemoration. And I also thank Joshua for inviting me here and providing this venue. It is a wonderful opportunity that we encounter for the peace. 78 years ago, atomic bombs devastated the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, reducing everything to ashes and ending countless lives in an instant. On behalf of the government of Japan, I express my sincere condolences to the victims of the atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, regardless of their nationalities. My heartfelt sympathy also goes out to those who continue to suffer from the after effects. We cannot change the tragic fact that Hiroshima was the first place to suffer an atomic bomb. However, it depends on us whether Nagasaki will remain the last place. On this point, we do have a very, very special year this year. As Joshua mentioned, we have hosted G7 summit in Hiroshima and showing what is the reality was of the tragedy of Hiroshima and also the Nagasaki. Whenever I am talking about the Hiroshima, one thing I'm very proud of is that people of Japan didn't put the name Hiroshima as the icon of tragedy or icon of hatred. We simply put the Hiroshima as a hope and a commitment for the future that we will never ever allow this happen again. And I think this is really a strongness of the Japanese people, that we will convert this tragedy to the positive commitment. And another important thing this year is the Japan joined to the Security Council. And I am serving as an ambassador DPR to the United Nations from the Japanese mission. We are facing every day the tragedy of the world, somewhere in the world, including the situation in Ukraine. And as you all know, we are facing such a dangerous moment that we might face another tragedy. So it is really important for us all to keep in mind that Nagasaki should be the last city to suffer this tragedy. I think it is really important for everybody to know the reality of the tragedy. So the G7 summit was a big moment to demonstrate to the world the real tragedy. But at the same time, we have to continue passing through these memories to the younger generations, preserving the legacy, recognizing the power of the youth. As Nakagaki-san said, we have to call for the youth for the future. So we are trying to pass over this reality to the future. Japan, in close cooperation with the United Nations, we have initiated a new program called the Youth Leader Fund for a World Without Nuclear Weapons last year. Through this program, we will invite young leaders to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, providing them with opportunities to deepen their understanding of the realities of nuclear weapons use. That through nuclear weapons, nobody really wins. Ladies and gentlemen, Japan, together with the international community, will walk decisively forward on the path towards a world without nuclear weapons as a Prime Minister committed, in which we can all enjoy perpetual peace, no matter how difficult that path may be. I wish to conclude my remarks with heartfelt prayers for the souls of those who fell victim to the atomic bombing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we have to keep this positive message, no more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki, in our heart. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. A very important message from Ambassador Shino. Mr. Koji Sato is the president of Japanese American Association of New York.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank Reverend Nakagaki for inviting me today. And I'd also like to thank the Japan Society for sponsoring this event. It's a great place to be, and I wish we were here under different circumstances, but obviously this is a fantastic place to congregate. Thinking about what happened, this is the 78th anniversary of what happened on August 6th in Hiroshima, US time, August 9th, Nagasaki. And I just think of the suffering of those people in Nagasaki, and I really pray to all the lives that were lost at that time. And this is not just the lives that were lost at that time, but the descendants of all the people that lost their lives. Even they had radiation sickness, and even the descendants of that. So that the suffering has continued somewhat. So I really give my best to everyone, all the survivors and the descendants of all the survivors. As a father and now a grandfather, I really hope that this never happens again. I would never like to have the younger generation experience such a terrible tragedy. And we have to all work together, make sure that the world leaders realize that this is something that can't be repeated again. We see what happened, what's happening in Ukraine, the conflict in Ukraine, even the conflict for Taiwan. We don't know what will happen in the future, but we have to make sure, as Ambassador Shino said, we have to make sure that Nagasaki or Hiroshima Nagasaki is the last to experience anything like this. We can't let this happen in the future, and I hope the world will realize, the world leaders will realize that use of atomic weapons does not resolve anything. It just makes matters worse. So thank you very much. I just want to keep my remarks short, and we should all spread peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. Is there anybody from New York City's mayor's office representing from the office among our very special audience? All right, thank you. So next, we would like to welcome the dancer Braulio Alvarez. He will dance to a song called Aoi Garasu-dama, a blue glass ball. And the song is performed by Nataliya Gudziy. And the song is based on a story from 1945 summer in Nagasaki. And the music is done by Takashi Mitsumori. I think he's here today. Thank you very much for coming to the event. So this message is Hiroshima was the place where the first atomic bomb was dropped in human history. We hope that Nagasaki would be the last place where the atomic bomb was dropped. The theme of the first verse of the song is memory and reminiscence. The second verse is prayer. And the third verse is hope and peace. The dancer, Mr. Braulio Alvarez, was a member of Tokyo National Classic Ballet House. He speaks fluent Japanese, and he's very much influenced by Japanese culture while he was in Japan. He said he choreographed this dance based on very quiet, calm culture he learned in Japan. Please enjoy.
ほんの小さな街並みが突然